How good could West Virginia be in 2025? How bad can they be this fall? We're going to talk about that here today on Between Ears. Welcome back in, everybody. Schuyler Callihan here with another episode of Between Ears. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button here on our page at West Virginia on SI. A look here, as always, at our show schedule for the upcoming season. Every Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you've got me here on Between the Ears. Every Thursday, beginning this week, is the Walk Thru GameDay Show with Eugene, Napoleon, breaking down that week's matchup, talking about a lot of other things surrounding the team, college football. We also end our show every week with our Pick'ems segment. And starting this Saturday as well is the Mountaineer Postgame Show. We're going to have that for you directly after West Virginia, more than likely, takes care of business against Robert Morris. So, what is the ceiling and the floor for the Mountaineers in 2025? Whew, that's a loaded question, folks. Just because of how much unknown there is with this group. You could say 0-12 and 12-0, and boom, end of episode, and I'd be fine with it. I thought about doing that, but I got to give you something here to chew on, right? So I went 7-5 on my record predictions. Gene went 9-3, which I'll give him a little bit of credit. He brought his expectations down a little bit. Usually he's in that 10-2 range. So not much movement from Gene. He actually had him at 8-4, and then Daryl Talley said a few things to make him convinced that they're going to get to 9. So either way, Gene's tempering his expectations just a little bit here in year one for Rich Rodriguez. So again, I have him at 7-5, and I'm going to start with the floor first because I feel like I'm going to catch some heat on the ceiling here. And I want to give myself a chance to really explain my ceiling. So, with the floor, buckle up for this, y'all. You ready? 4-8. 4-8. That's where I'm going with the floor. I think it's not ideal, and I'm not saying that this is not an episode of me detailing what is ideal for the ceiling and floor as to what's okay for year one. This is just what I believe West Virginia's record is going to be at the end of the day. It's going to fall somewhere in between this bucket. I think you're going to take care of business against Robert Morris. I don't think there's any chance in the world that RMU has this weekend coming up in Morgantown. They got to find 3 more wins beyond that. And Ohio, and we have talked about this game for months. Not a fun one to go to, right? Not a fun one that you want to have on your schedule. Making the trip over across the border over to Athens. And I get there's going to be a strong contingent of Mountaineer fans there, but this is their game. Like, this is their game to prove to everybody out there. And I understand West Virginia's not a top 25 team, but these opportunities don't come up very often, right, for G6 schools. They just don't. So the fact that you have an opportunity to host a P4 team, that's huge. And this is going to be a game for them where they're going to bring everything. They're going to throw the kitchen sink at West Virginia. I wouldn't be surprised if they go for it on 4th down a bunch, because what do they have to lose? It doesn't count against them in the MAC standings, doesn't really impact them at all. It's a game for them to just go out there and try and get a huge win for their brand and for their team, and to start turning some heads and say, hey, maybe we start talking about Ohio in this CFP in terms of the G6 bid. So that's a tricky game. The backyard brawl is always tough because of the pressure, more so this year than ever. We all know about that. And then the Big 12 schedule is just ridiculous. I mean, the end of the year alone, you got Arizona State and Texas Tech. towards the start of it, you have Kansas, Utah, BYU, not an easy cakewalk to start by any means. I think it's kind of light there in the middle with UCF, Houston, and Colorado, but even there you have some unknowns. Like, is Colorado going to be able to easily replace Shador Sanders and Jimmy Horn Jr. and Travis Hunter with the guys that they have there? They have two quarterbacks that they really, really like. Is one of them going to be really good, or are they going to be kind of rotating guys and just trying to find a guy all year? Who knows? Houston's defense has always been good. Or, well, last year with Willie Fritz, it was good, and it's going to be again this year. Do they find a quarterback? UCF. You guys know by now if you've watched me. I'm not huge on UCF. So I think that's where you're going to get one of those wins. TCU, I think could be a dark horse to win the Big 12. So basically, what I'm getting at here is there's a lot of opportunities where they could lose some games. And when you have so many new pieces coming together, it's not. I think you'd almost like to have one more non-conference game and also have it come before Pitt. You like to have three kind of build-up games, a kind of preseason built into your schedule before you get into the thick of things there with Pitt. And unfortunately, it just doesn't happen. So you have one game this week against Robert Morris to kind of sort some things out, work out the kinks, shake the cobwebs off as best as you can, and try to go into Athens in week two with a pretty good idea as to who you are and what you're going to be. So I've got to go 4-8. It's not going to be fun, obviously, if you go 4-8, but I think you can still see positive signs throughout that type of season. I really do. I think you can still upset a team. You could go 4-8 and beat Arizona State to end the year, or go 4-8 and beat Arizona State and Texas Tech to end the year. Now, if you're two and gosh, what would that be at that point? 2-8. That means one of your wins was Robert Morris, and then you didn't win again until mid-November. I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't. But if you find a way to beat one of those two teams at the end of the year and you play competitive, and we've talked about this a bunch too, being competitive in losses, that's a big thing this year. I think if you keep these games close, if you have a lot of one score losses, it kind of makes you feel a little bit better on the inside, even though you don't like the end result, just because hey, you're at least somewhat close, and you're only in year one. You're not miles away from being a contender where you're getting blown out by 20 or 30 every week. If that's happening, oh boy, you know? So that's my floor, 4-8. All right, here we go. With the ceiling, you can get at me in the comments all you want. I'm a big boy. I can take it. 8-4. That's where I'm going. 8-4. And I know it's only one game more than my prediction for the season, but I can't. No matter every time I look at the schedule, I can't find a path to 9 wins. Not saying it's completely impossible. So let's make that very, very clear here. I'm not saying that 9-3 or better can't happen. Obviously, it can. But just looking at the schedule, looking how it's set up, getting to 9 wins is, if we're playing percentages here, I mean, slim to none, and Slim just walked out the door. Like, I just don't see it. That is an incredible first, especially with this schedule as we're showing here right now. I mean, that is very little margin for error for a team that is largely new, trying to figure themselves out, trying to find answers at key positions, even at quarterback. I mean, 9 wins. I mean, you're talking. Let's just say you lose to Arizona State and Texas Tech. That means you can only lose one other game on that schedule. If you stumble against Pitt out of the gate and you go into Big 12 play 2-1, that means you can only lose two more games the entire season. I see more than two games the rest of the year that they can lose. So that's what I'm saying. Like it's not that they can't, that 9-3 can't happen. Of course, I mean hell, 12-0 can happen. 0-12 can happen. So I'm not saying that that's not possible. What we're doing here is trying to make a range of where this record is going to fall. And I think 8-4 is feasible. I believe it is. It's certainly harder. It's more difficult because I think even at 8-4, you're still going to have some of those elements of things bouncing your way and getting a little bit of help and getting a little lucky. Like I think some of that's going to have to factor into the recipe here. To get to 9-3, I mean that's reaching greedy level in year one. And you are absolutely okay to feel that way. You can do that. You can have that optimism. I encourage you to have that optimism. I don't want fans to have hoping for 8-4 as the best possible scenario. No one would want that. But you can separate expectations and what you want and go into the season and still feel okay. If I said the ceiling is 8-4 for this team, which I am here today saying that's my ceiling, that's and you agree with it, then great. But you can still hope for 12-0, 11-1, whatever. But I think 8-4 is just that's it. I can't get much higher than that. And honestly, I almost came on here and said 7-5, which is my prediction, but I do find a couple of games that I think are just coin flips and they could go either way. And if you get more of those coin flips than what I'm anticipating, then yeah, 8-4 could happen. You look at let's take a look here at the schedule one more time. I think Pitt's a coin flip. I do. I have them winning it, but it's a coin flip. They have more continuity. I don't care where the game's being played. They have more continuity. They have more answers. They have an experienced quarterback. They have playmakers. That's a tough game. Kansas is a coin flip. I think Utah and BYU are going to be very, very challenging. BYU maybe more of a winnable game now that Jake Ritzloff is not there, and they're going to start a quarterback, Bear Bachmeyer, who's going to be wearing jersey number 47. But uh, I don't know. UCF, like I said, you guys already know my thoughts on them. And I think Colorado could be a coin flip. I mean, I don't even want to talk about the last two because I think that's just really hard to ask them to be either Arizona State or Texas Tech. But if Texas Tech swung and missed on a bunch of those portal guys on the defensive side of the ball, all of a sudden there could be another win. So that's why I see possibilities of getting to 8. There's going to be things that happen that we don't expect, both for West Virginia and their opponents. And that could be one of them. I see 7-5, and if Texas Tech ends up being the same Texas Tech as they've always been, then boom, there could be another win. But to get beyond that is really, really hard for me to see. So there you have it. My ceiling, my floor, 4-8, 8-4. You have my record prediction is 7-5. I don't know what else you want from me, but if you want anything else opinion wise on this team before the season starts, let me know in the comments section. We'll do an episode or an article on it on our site, which we encourage you to check out at West Virginia on SI. It's where the most stories of West Virginia athletics live every single day. We've got stuff going up bright and early in the morning. So if you're eager to know what's going on about the football team, eager to know what people think, check out our website, West Virginia on SI. Also, as I've mentioned before, I believe on here before, we do a mailbag every single week, and I want to give a major, major tip of the hat to everybody that is sending questions on a weekly basis. This was the first year I think we've done it all year round. I usually try to stop it like a week or two after basketball season because there's just not a lot going on. but I wanted to see like how long we could continue to do it. And hats off to everybody on Twitter and a few folks on Facebook that kept that thing going all year long. We made it all the way through the off season, and we've got another mailbag coming up tomorrow. So there's still time. If you want to get your question in, go to my X account at Callihan _. You'll see the tweet asking for questions. Make sure you just put your comment there, or if you want to put it here, that's fine too. And we'll probably do that moving forward. So that way, if you don't have an X account and you want to get on the mailbag, put your questions here. Yeah, let's do that too because I want to get you guys involved. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing them. And we've kind of built a nice little community there with our mailbag. So want you guys to be a part of it. If you have a question, drop it here in the comment section on YouTube. And while you're at it, hit like and subscribe. And that's going to do it for me here today on Between the Eers. We'll be back. Tuesday. We'll be back on Tuesday and Wednesday. Thursday, we have the Walk Thru GameDay Show, as I mentioned at the beginning of the show. And then Saturday, the Mountaineer Postgame Show. So we got a lot coming up for you. It's game week. It's finally here. Let's get to it. Thank you. We'll be back here on Tuesday. Take care.